Hi everybody, it's Bill. Hope you're having a great day. So, ho ho ho, we got through one holiday, we're headed to the next big one. And so I know I've done this before, but I want to tell you a little background story. So, you know, I call this kind of a regal meal because it's this prosciutto and pasta, and it is really good. But you know the best thing about it is it's something you could make up, and you don't have to cook it, but you put it in like aluminum pans, and you know it'd be a great gift to give, right? I mean, this is something really nice, and you can just tell them, hey, it's 350 oven for half an hour. You know, if you know that, if it's someone you know, maybe you got a neighbor that doesn't get out a whole lot or doesn't have time to cook something fancy. Well, this is a great thing, you know, and it always reminds me, when I was in 6th grade, my teacher, Mr. Frawley, he used to do the Elks Club. They would put together dinners to deliver to people's houses so that they could have, cook their own Christmas dinner. They do it at Christmas time, but it was, ham, turkey, whatever. And he showed up this one guy's house one time, and the guy says, well, that's not going to be good, I don't have any oven. So Mr. Frawley took it back home, cooked it, and brought it back to him. So, sometimes just thinking, this is the holidays we give, and that's sometimes a great thing to do. So just keep that in mind. Meantime, I'm going to show you this really great, fabulous meal that's actually really simple, and you're going to love me for it. So start out with, I got 3 tablespoons of butter in my pan. I turned it down because it was like going crazy. Either splashes on me, the stove, someplace. Need to get better about that. I'm going to crank that up a little bit. I'm going to grab a paper towel. Start a fire. That's my special burner for my when I make my hibiscus tea that I drink every morning. It's really good for you. Okay, just keep that in mind. Alright, so we got this back to what it's supposed to be doing. And so now we've started the onion, right? Now I got a bunch of garlic here. So let's make sure my onions got a little head start on it, which it does. Heavy bottom pans, man, just make cooking so much easier, especially with gas. Get that sucker going, and it ain't gonna cool down on you. Okay, so let's just put some garlic in here. And this was actually 5 pretty good sized cloves. I just think with what we're doing, because this is a really incredible dish with prosciutto and stuff, I just think you need that garlic. You need garlic as much as you do onion in this case. Just want to get everything starting to soften. And the reason is because the next thing we add is we're going to add some sliced mushrooms. It's a ½ pound, a little package of it. And once you do that and it starts to give off, first absorbs all the liquid, and then it starts to give off a lot of water, it doesn't cook the onion and garlic the same way. So I just want to give this just a minute. Okay, things are really happening pretty hot and heavy here. So here's my nice thin, sliced. I know what you're thinking. You're using every dish in the kitchen. Well, not really. It's just because I'm prepping everything. The oven is ready for a dish that I started earlier. Can't tell you what it is because, gosh, I don't know which is going to show up first. Yeah, I'll go to the editing table and is that back in the old day when you literally cut the video, right? All right, so I want to just get this going kind of nice and easy. And once again, like I said, the mushrooms have taken all the liquid. They absorbed all that butter. And I just want to get them to start giving it up. And you just want to make sure there's enough butter. You know, when we talk about cooking things, well, remember, this is not a science like baking. So you really just want to make sure there's enough butter to make sure it coats the pan so the mushrooms aren't sticking and being torn apart. So I'm giving you abouts, but if you used a bigger bottom pan, you'd need more butter. Smaller bottom pan, less butter. I like to have enough room so if I'm stirring, I'm not splashing all over the place. I don't like stuff flying out on me. Okay, so now we got this going, right? In a couple minutes. Mushrooms are definitely starting to soften. The onion's kind of breaking down, which is what we want. I don't want to chew into raw onion. Actually, I love raw, just kidding. All right, and I always use the same sweet kind of onions, whether I'm making cooking or using raw. You know, I mean, gosh, they're what, 10 cents more a pound. Cooking onions are just like, so like 70s and earlier. Of course, I don't know because I don't know a whole lot about cooking prior to the 70s. All right, so there's definitely sweating. So I got a 1/4 pound of prosciutto, and remember, you want the the Parma, real authentic stuff. And if they know what they're doing, they're going to cut it really thin for you. And I just cut it in strips. Well, in the past, I've done it by taking all the slices and cutting them, and they kind of stick together. Well, so the guy yesterday said to me, "Do you want me to put paper between them all?" And I went, "Yeah, that saves me from having to try and figure out how to separate them." Of course, I think he paid like $30 a pound for paper, but that's another story. But it really was handier to separate them and get this big pile of these wonderful strips of prosciutto. Prosciutto. 1/4 pound with cheese. Just kidding. Alright, so now we got this liquid from the mushrooms. I want to get this prosciutto to just start to get a little happy in here. I'm going to break it up. And if you have a hard time cutting prosciutto, I had a guy tell me one time, throw it in the freezer for a minute or two, and it's easier to cut. Okay, I'm just starting to see the prosciutto starting to turn color, give off some of that amazing, amazing flavor. And this really is a good holiday tradition. It's got all this beautiful color to it once we get down towards the end. Tastes really good. Makes you feel like you're a star, both eating and cooking it, So remember what I said, maybe with your family, instead of gift giving, how about, dish to pass? How about, doing a potluck before the holidays or on the holiday if you're not a real big, mandatory gotta have a certain meal on Christmas. Spent my whole life working half the holidays and half the weekends that, I understood that wasn't always going to be. Okay, this looks just absolutely perfect. I want to turn it down just a hair. And it's smelling really good. It's just fabulous. Okay, so what do I got now? I got some half and half. I got a cup and a half. Cup and a half, half and half. That's why I turned it down, because I didn't want it to go crazy. Now I'm going to stir it. Once again, this is now that the prosciutto has started to kind of render, cook down a little bit. It doesn't cook like bacon, you know, you're not trying to crisp it, you're just trying to get it to separate and take on a life of its own. And speaking of that, if you're not a big fan of prosciutto, or you think it's ridiculous how much it costs, because the cheap stuff doesn't taste nearly the same. So if you're not a big fan, you could always use some kind of ham. I wouldn't use like a honey ham or anything that's going to add a lot of, you know, that kind of flavor. But I know in my grocery store we have Boar's Head and they have a tavern ham, which is pretty mild, but would still give you the same kind of flavor in it. Okay. This is looking pretty good. I think I'm actually outdoing myself, which is kind of amazing. Okay. So, like I said, that was ice cold out of the fridge, so we just want to get everything up to temperature again. And this is what I call creative cooking, because you're really making something that you're not putting flour and you're not making a roux, and yet it really, you know, when you throw it in the oven, it really does turn out really well. I think I said really like 12 times, sorry. Just want to get this all happy. I'm going to rest my hand. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And all we're doing is we're looking for those little teeny, I want to start seeing steam and a little activity here. And we want this to happen slowly because I'm on like just, you know, south of medium, so medium low plus. When you order a steak, mid rare plus, right? Okay, I'm starting to feel the vibe here. So what we're doing is, as soon as we can get this up hot enough, I want to put a little Parmesan cheese in. It's going to melt, thicken it. Then we're going to toss it all together and it'll make it really happy. Oh yeah, I can see it's starting to work. Sometimes slow but steady wins the race. I know it's annoying. I know you're fast forwarding through this anyway, so. Or you fell asleep and you missed the whole point of this recipe. I need is one of those like instant read infrared thermometers. It's surface temperature. Not sure it'd work, but it was a thought. Now here it goes. Yeah. So just want to make sure. Oh yeah. Just these little teeny bubbles are starting to dance in my head, or actually in my pan, but that's okay. Alright, so at this point, I really just want to smell this. You gotta understand it. It really does smell good. Believe it or not, something as simple as this. Alright, I'm going to turn it down and run out of room for all my ingredients because I actually had a bunch of stuff to put in there. I want like a 1/4 cup of good Parmesan, Reggiano, whatever, cheese. And I got some parsley that I just chopped up. And you know, I don't get too like excited about how you chop your parsley, but I just want some green in here. And now I'm going to mix this all up, turn the heat off, so I know the cheese is still going to melt. Oh yeah. Looks really good. You can see the steam rising up, so you know it's darn hot. If you think it's getting too hot, just make sure you take it off the heat. Alright, so what's the next step? I got some penne pasta I cooked this morning, and ironically, that's like 3/4 of a box, right? And I don't think I'm going to need it all, but let's start. I'm guessing I usually put like half a box in, but let's start with this. That's a good start. Everything's getting real happy in here. Just a little more. Alright, that's a beauty. That's a beauty. Right there. So when you cook pasta ahead of time, just splash some olive oil on it. It'll do what it's got to do. Okay. So how do we make this? How do we finish this up? Well, I got my ancient visionware that I love. I'm gonna take a spoon off here. A little cheese was sticking to it. Ooh, lots of cheese. I didn't even see that. Okay. So, real simple. If all my calculations are correct, it's going to fit. So you can start with, if you know how big your pan is, start with a half a box. Like I said, I probably was closer to 3/4. This is a pretty big pot, or baking dish, I'm sorry. So what do? I want to kind of make sure everything looks happy. There's enough liquid on the bottom here. I mean, there's this much liquid on the bottom, which when we cook it, it's going to really kind of bring it all up and make it all really happy. Alright. I just love the smell, so I'm sorry. Let's get all that stuff off here. Lots of parsley sticking to it. Okay. So, I got some roasted red peppers in strips, because I want red, right? Red and green. And don't be shy. I mean, don't put a whole jar on, because they come in a big jar, but this really adds a lot. So there's about half a cup. I drained it first and put it in here, and I'm still doing it with my hand because you can see there's still liquid in the bottom here. I don't want to get a lot of that liquidy stuff in here. Now, does that look good enough to eat? Well, course not. It's not done yet. What I gotta do now is I gotta get the rest of this Parmesan cheese. There's another quarter cup, maybe a little more, because I want it to really melt in there. And you know, this is just reminiscent of all the recipes I've learned over the years and from different people. Sometimes it's just experimenting, but this makes for a really great tradition. You know, maybe Christmas Eve, you want to have a nice meal because you're going to go to midnight mass or something. So you want a nice dinner maybe for Christmas Eve. Maybe you want this. Maybe New Year's Eve's better for you. That's fine. Either way, you're going to really love this. So at this stage, I'm not going to eat it right now. Just like if you were going to dish it up for a swap, and just want to let it cool. It's pretty cool. You know, wrap it in tin, and you're going to do 350. And if it's right out of the fridge, you're probably going to be closer to probably a half an hour. You can, you know, just as it is, because we want to get a little of that crunchy. You want to get the pasta nice and cooked and crunchy on the edges. Get that everything kind of meld together. And really hope that you're going to try something like this. When you do, think of other people, and I will see you real soon with another really great recipe. Hope you have a great day. See you later.